Hi guys, Ashley-Janne here. So today I'm going to do a setup slash planning video with you. It's sort of going to be like a plan with me, but I don't actually, I don't do a lot of decorating and bits. So this is going to be more of a functional plan with me. So I'm going to show you sort of my organizer, the layout of it, and then what I actually do to it each week. Because I do like weekly planning and then fill in the days as I go along. For any of you who came to the planner conference and bits like that, I am going to be going through the incompletion trigger list that I mentioned at the conference, which is this. I will talk to you about that as we go. And yeah, I hope you guys sort of see, sorry, I've got a bit of something on there. See sort of, how it's set up, what it is, and maybe you might even get a couple of ideas of your own or something. Do excuse any background noise. I am in my kitchen with my dogs and, sort of country living. We get visitors and barking and all sorts, but I think you guys are probably used to that by now. So let's get started. So as you can tell, my organizer is a traveller's notebook. Some people say it's chunky. I would say it's about reasonable size. I've got 2 pens. Sort of, that's how it looks. I've got a little charm which has got, as you can see there, trying to get rid of the glare, some paw prints on because I have dogs and I have my little soulmate puppy dog. And yeah, it's a regular traveller's notebook. It's in personal size. I moved from a personal Filofax. I've been in Filofaxes for ages, so I'm now in this. And for any of you who are going to ask me where I got it from, I made this myself. This is a self-made. And for any of you who think I've got a really dirty hand just here, it's not. I burnt that and it's all a bit icky at the moment, but it's doing fine. So yes, I made this myself. It's quite thick leather, as you can tell. To try and sort of show you how thick it is, that's about how far it will bend. That's pretty thick. It will not bend in on itself. It's 2.8 millimeters thick. So this leather I bought online. I bought a large piece, sort of big piece, which would do enough of probably 2 or 3 of these personal size ones. And it was on clearance. I got it for a lower price because the seller thought it was not as good. It had what he called natural blemishes. So if I show you the back, you can see these little marks here, and this is just natural marking. This would have been where the cow caught itself on a fence or, rubbing up against something. They are actual little cow scars. And the other bit it has, you can't really see it, but here it's got that sort of like it's been rolled, and if you can just see there, you've got that ripple effect. That is the actual leather itself. It's the grain of the leather. He sold the leathers as, very neat finish, but I'm not fussed about that. It was a better price. I got more of it. This is, as I said, personal size. It's veg tan, so it's undyed, veg tan, natural leather, which means it's going to patina beautifully. I have got a leather strap that goes across, and I shall show you why. If you can see just that line there, there's actually quite a big line there just here, and that's my elastic. My elastic is very thin. It's thinner than Midori elastic, and I think it's even perhaps 1 millimeter. It's very thin. It makes a nice pop, but it's very strong elastic. But I can't cope with the thicker elastic. I used to have a traveller's notebook that had 2 millimeters, and it drove me crazy. So this is very thin elastic, but it does cut in quite a bit. So that's why I've got this here, just to keep it safe. Let's get started before I ramble. So let's get into it. So as I said, I've got 2 pens on the side here, and they, if you've seen it before, just clip on with regular binder clips. So they just in and out. So easy to in and out, as you can see, no force whatsoever. But as soon as I put them upside down, give them a heck of a shake, and they're not going anywhere, which I think is almost magic. It's lovely. So let's move that out of the way. Let's get started. So the inside of it was fuzzy when I got it. It's natural, so it would be fuzzy, you know, the skin bits and do's. A great way to gum this down if you've not done this before, you're thinking of doing your own, or you've got your own one that's fuzzy, is saddle soap. And I saddle soap to the outside and the inside. That's absolutely fine to do. It doesn't affect it as long as you don't put too much on any one area and you really work it in. Give it a couple of days to dry as well. But the saddle soap on the inside will actually gum the fuzz down, and you can sort of see where the fuzz would have been, but this is beautiful and smooth in here. And as soon as it starts to get fuzzy again, like that top corner is, all I have to do is just get, you know, a little bit on my finger, just run it over and I'm there. So let's get started. So this is just a post-it note that I keep in the front with just things, you know, that I need to add. I'm just got my my tripod just here, so that's what I'm sticking it on. So first things first is a craft folder, just a regular, you know, craft folder with card slots, pocket. It's shorter than my notebook because I used to have a smaller traveller's notebook. I am going to make a taller one, but it's just a nice, you know, it's a thick card. And I forgot to tell you, I've got 4 inserts, 1, 2, 3, 4, and I've got 4 strings in this, so each insert has its own elastic. So let's get into the first insert. All of my inserts are from, so I'm trying to keep this in frame, are from Traveller's Times. If you don't know of Traveller's Times, definitely have a look. It's UK based, the prices are great and the quality is lovely. So the first thing I've got is a meal planner and shopping list insert. Now Keely, the lady at Traveller's Times, was working on these and I just happened to sort of ask her for one at that time. I don't know if these are in her shop yet. You might have to go and have a look. I will see if I can find out. But this is what mine looks like, and it looks like an absolute mess, I know. So let me just move you to let's move to the middle and I'll show you a rough idea. So it's the same on both sides and it's the same on all pieces of paper. Her paper, by the way, is gorgeous. You just want to stroke it and be a total nerd. It's all soft and beautiful. So on the left side of your paper you have the meal planner, and you just have Monday to Sunday in little boxes, which is lovely. Then you have like a dotted line down the middle, and then you have your shopping list, and you have all your items down here with lines and a checkbox down the side. See if I can show you that a bit better. There we go, checkbox down the side, so you can, as you can see here, tick off when you've bought it. And that is just the same the whole way through. These are 32 pages, so 64 sides, which is, you know, enough for a year easily. And that's all I do with mine. And if you're wondering sort of why I've only done half a week, I actually meal plan a Wednesday through to Wednesday because Wednesday is my shopping day. And in my little plan with me towards the end, you'll see me do this, probably a bit sped up because it's boring. But that's sort of the in and out of her insert. At the back of her insert, she always has a, I say always, but in all the inserts I've got, she has like a blank page with her details. So what I've actually done is I've turned this particular page into a list of carbs. That's one of the things I calculate because I'm on a low carb, high fat. And I just popped a little bit of washi so I know that it's that page. I just put down my items and how many carbs it comes out at, so that's lovely. And her cover is just like craft card. It's not as thick as this stuff. It is quite thin. It could get bent and sort of beat up quite easy, but it's a lovely feeling and it doesn't take up too much space. It doesn't add too much bulk. You just have her little printed bit. I mean, they are just so much quality in them, which is lovely. So at the back is my second half of my craft folder. It just goes around that first insert. All I have here is the clip for this particular pen, a paper clip, some of my stickers, and some of you will recognize these. These are from my shop, but they're just, you know, general stickers, get fuel. I have a couple of decorative ones in there. I don't decorate too much, but I keep them in there just because they're colourful and it does add a little bit of zazz. And then, sorry, they just go there. In the back, I'm really plain. All I keep is some masking sticker sets, and I'm like such a bargain person, so I actually use the front of these, as you saw there. And then I just kept a couple of spots because I feel like spots And then I have a post-it holder, which was originally a washi tape holder with a cute little hedgehog on, and I went to, for my work, I go to a lot of trade shows, and some of these trade shows have little booklets which have sticky notes in, and I suddenly realised that this actually fits them perfectly. As you can see there, they were made for each other, so I usually have about 5 of each on here at any one time and just refill as I need it. So they all slot in there, and that's the first insert and the bit done. So second insert is the month on 2 pages undated planner. I'm not going to go through this too much because it is pretty self-explanatory. Keely has so many different design ones of these, but I've gone for really plain ones. So you just have your month and your year up the top, you have Monday to Sunday with a notes column, and then you have your boxes, and your boxes all have just here and here, like little dotted lines for you to put your dates on, or if you're like me and you're lazy, I just use the date dots. Again, I'm very biased, are from my shop. I never used to use monthlies, but now I do both monthly and weekly. I've found that it's easier to just have the monthly spread like this for when I'm out and about than it is to go through to the weekly, flip all the pages. And the things I put on here are the things I need to know for that day, like I have a dinner, this weekend I've got to help at a dance or something like meal plan or do a video. That doesn't come on here, that goes in my weeklies in here. So that's quite basic. And then any notes, so for example, I just have little notes in there. I keep a binder clip here, which actually keeps my week and my month held together just like that. And I mean, you can see how gorgeous her inserts are quality wise. They just sit in the middle. That's lovely, but it means that I can flip to my specific week within my month. And the other fantastic thing about Keely's inserts is that she's got enough of these boxes that you can do 31 days without having to go like a half day or go on to the next month, so that is perfect. So onto the weeklies. This is the week on 2 pages, no sorry, week on, hold on. This is the week on 1 page undated planner in the grid version. So what you have is, again, your year and your month. You have Monday to Sunday down this side, and you've just got your dividing lines. And this side is just a blank insert, just ignore that, completely blank. And it is just grid lines, if you can see those there. And the bit I absolutely love about these inserts is that these grids and the wording and the bits are grey. They aren't black, they are grey, and as you can see with my black writing, the black stands out quite a lot from the grey. So you've got it here, that's the grey wording for the date, and that's my writing, and it really stands out, so you can still certainly see your words. There is no, it's not like she's printed it and it's running out of ink or anything. She has printed it this colour, and it's beautiful. But it really means that you're not completely, you haven't got that grid in your face, you've got everything you want. So all I do with this when I plan is I have all of my bits down one side, and then on this side is where I do my incompletion trigger list. So if I take my binder clip out and just show you last week, so that is last week. So this was all the stuff I had to do, just my regular appointments, and then things like meal plan, weigh myself, do some sales things, payday, etc. Then this is my incompletion trigger list, which is that thing I'll show you in a minute. And then down here are any old notes. So I haven't done this one yet. I decided to leave it for you guys for this coming up plan with me. I have a few little tabs which literally just sit in there like that, so I get an idea of what's going on. And that's sort of a more blank one. I mean, they go all the way through, and you've got about enough pages in here for 6 months, so that's lovely. And I forgot to tell you, in the undated monthlies, you've probably got enough for about 2 years. There are tons of room in here, and that suits me fine because I like seeing previous year's stuff. But I'm sure if you didn't and you wanted a smaller one, she could do that for you. Just have a word with her because she's lovely. Again, at the back here, you end up with your blank page. I haven't figured out anything to pop on that one yet. and I've got my second clip, which is for my red. So I just keep some details in here. I can't show you that one for regular reasons. I just keep some business cards, the appointment card for my vets for the numbers, and then the bit at the back here I've got the prices for treatment roughly, and I've actually got a weight conversion, so kilogram and stones. Not that I particularly need it, but it's in there. And then I just have some stamps in here which I trimmed down a little bit, so that's that. Then my last insert again is another one that Keely was working on, and I don't know if it's actually in her shop at the moment, but I'm sure it will be, is the Traveller's Times expenses insert, and I love it. So this is my expenses. There's nothing on there that you will need to know, but I just do mine per month. You have the date, you have the item, you have how much the cost was, and then here you have whether you paid by card or PayPal, which is fantastic because they're usually the two things I pay by. I don't tend to pay much, you know, with other things. I definitely don't do checks or anything like that. And that again is all the way through. If you use that monthly, again, that'll last you for years and years. Well, it probably lasts you 2 years. So that is lovely. And then the back is just the other side of my card wallet, which has just got some plasters, bits and doos, a little bit of money, and some Rennie indigestion tablets, because don't we all just get that sometimes? So I'm just going to take that sticky note out because I need it later. And that is my setup. It's basic, it's simple, but I absolutely love the setup. So now we are going to go into the plan with me. So I am going to do this literally like I would do every week, and it's probably going to be boring for you lot because I'm not going to sticker too much or do's or bits, but it's going to be something that I will go through, and you guys might understand sort of how I do this from a functional perspective. I do love the plan with me. Oh, that looks really bad on the camera, sorry. I love all the decorative and all that sort of thing, but I don't see a lot of functional ones, so I thought I'd pop this out there. So let's just get going. I'm going to take my pens off of here just for ease of use, and this is all I need. Literally, this is all I need, and it's wonderful. So let's get started. The first thing I would do is find my menu for each week. So it's currently Wednesday, which means this is my menu, so I have to plan the following week. I did my shopping, so let's get going. So what I will do is I will get this going, and then I will fast forward this for you guys so you don't get bored. Okay, so that's me planned for the week. So as you saw, it literally, I do Wednesday to Wednesday. You just write in what you're having in your meals, and then what I will do is when I get to Tuesday, because I shop on the Tuesday, I will then write my shopping list here and work it that way. The reason I haven't got one here is because I forgot to, well, I didn't forget to, my family wrote their shopping list on a piece of paper this week, so I just added my stuff to theirs. So that's that first bit done. There's nothing I need from there. So let's move on. So the second bit I would do is check my note tags just to make sure there is nothing major that I need to be thinking of. So that's fine, we aren't quite there yet. So where's my little post-it gone? Ah, found my post-it. So this is my post-it. This is just writing down a few things I need to remember. So the first thing I would now do is go onto my monthly insert. And since we're at the start of May, I would find my week, which is this one here, and I would just think this is where we are at the moment, this is today, and just see what I've got coming up in the week. So that's okay. And then all I have to do then is look at my post-it note, which I tend to stick on my hand, and just see if there is anything I have to do that's happening in May. July. So no, there is no major things happening in May. So again, I'll just check through here now. And for example, like here is, sorry about my phone, this is my puppy, my little boy's birthday. So I need to pop on here Apache presents so I can keep, sorry, he's just got up because he thinks I said his name for him. So I just pop on there, so that's an immediate note that I need. Sometimes I do just like do that to see if I get anything, because these are erasable, but sometimes they too tend to sit on the paper for a little bit, so I tend to just dab them if I have to. So that's absolutely fine. I've got nothing major coming up this week. I know that I've got to go somewhere, and that's about it. So let's head over to the week on 1 pages. So the week on 1 pages is, where are we at? April. This usually is a lot easier because I have my binder clip for every week. So this is this week. So I've got generally the stuff I need down there, and I've got a note at the bottom which says Bad Neighbours 2 release Friday the 6th, so I know that on Friday, a film that I'm not necessarily interested in, but I know that there's a film coming out. I have like a Cineworld card, an unlimited card, so I go often. So if you ever see my organiser, I actually have all of my films jotted down throughout the year, which is really sad. So I'm jotting down on there. So again, I'd have a look here. And just see if there's anything I need to do. So one of the things I've got written on here needs to be put in for July. So I need the 19th of July, 17th, 18th, 19th, and lo and behold, I've already written it in. So all I would do now is just go back and check if I've written it in on here, which I have not. So that is just written in there, you know, just easy. And then all I have to do now is just cross that off. Bum, 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 bum. And there's nothing else on there that I need to add in. So back to the insets. So here is where the incompletion trigger list comes in. This is the bulk of my day. So this is my piece of paper. It is, as you can, if I can get glare on there we go, it's laminated. So an incompletion trigger list is pretty much a brain dump. This is my second brain. I do not have the capacity to remember everything in my head all at once of what I have to do during the week. It's absolutely amazing if you do, but I just don't. So this here is my second brain. So the incompletion trigger list was, I believe, set up by David Allen, but I use a slightly different one that is a little bit more personal. David Allen's was very, very rounded. It did your home life, work life, career and things like that, whereas actually what I wanted it for was my personal life. So this is Mungo's, M-U-N-G-O _S, ADHD. I'll pop the link below for any of you, but he has from number 1, if you can see that there, it says number 1, from 1 to 31, and they're questions, they're trigger questions that are supposed to trigger a response in your mind so you don't sort of miss anything out. So all I did is I went from 1 to 31, I took out all of the questions that weren't relevant to me, for example, spouse, I'm not married, career and, you know, do I have to get in touch with anybody about a mortgage? I don't have a mortgage, so no, I don't. So I took all of those out and then just put all of the other ones just in a Word document, listed them, and I laminated it on 2 sides, and I ended up with 19. So I actually managed to cut out 11, which is quite a lot. So some of the things on here, I won't go through all of them. So this top one is my favourite little bit. So this is, it's called projects, but it says what's on your desk, what's on your floor or under your desk, what's in your stacks of paper, what's on your to-do list, what's in your emails that needs your attention. And then there's other things through here. Let me just go through a couple. So what communications are incomplete? Phone calls, letters, cards, emails. Does anything need attention with financial aspects such as budgeting, taxes, insurance? Do you need anything to be set or confirmed? Are you waiting for anybody to get hold of you? And then it sort of goes into more personal bits. Are you waiting for anything in the post? So you've ordered something and it's not arrived yet. Do you have anything you have to pay attention into a personal relationship such as your family or pets? Are there any errands you want to run? Do you have any concerns about transportation? So do you have to do insurance or MOT or anything like that? You know, it really is a coverall. And then the very last question says, as you walk around your home and workspace, do you notice anything that you have attention on which needs to be different than it is? Which simply means if you stand somewhere and you look around right now, is there anything there that you suddenly think, that needs to go in a different place, I need to do it, I need to pack it away. So it just reminds you to actually have another look around your space. So how I do this is I go through all of my questions. I usually have it there like that. As you can see, it is the same size as my insets. And then I write everything down. Now the key to this, and this is key, this is the key bit, is that you do not organise until afterwards. And what that means is you write down everything you've got to do. You do not write it down in order. You do not write it down in a matter of importance. You don't write it down. You just write it in a list, no matter where it comes, no matter if you've got in your list, I must research something in 6 months' time, and the bottom thing on your list says tomorrow I've got to go to the grocery. Do not put them in order, just write them down, literally write them down. And you end up with something that looks like this. So what I'm going to do is do my one, and again I'll speed it up a little bit because you don't need to know what I do, so to speak, and then I will show you the next step. The thing I do each week is anything I didn't get done, I just move it over, so you'll see me flipping back and forth. But as I said, you don't organise, you just write. You go from 1 to 19 or to however many questions it is, and you write it down. Don't even think about organising it, and that is the key. If you organise it, this doesn't work properly. So yes, it's quite simple. It sounds almost too simple and it almost sounds non-effective, but I'm going to go for it because I need to do this. And honestly, the amount of relief I get once I've done one of these each week, it's just like my brain has had release, and it's lovely. So I'm going to get on with this, and like I said, I'll probably fast forward it because it takes me a little while. Okay guys, so what I've done there is I've transferred what I didn't get done this week onto there, and I've literally transferred it as I've gone down the list. Again, still no organising. So now I'm going to go through my 1 to 19 and add anything else that needs doing. And I just find it easy to go through my pen and just go through each one. The nice thing about laminating is you could put a tick against them as you went through, So I'm going to go silent again, going sorry, and have another little go through. Okay guys, so that is me done. So as you can see there, I've now got my little list. It's not neat, it's just like a whole pile of stuff. So now that you've got your list, and it can always be added to, I mean, I've got all this nice space here, but now that you've got your list, now comes the organising part. So if I show you sorry, I'm just putting my feet up, show you my last week. What I do, you can do anything here. What I tend to do with the grids is I leave 3 spaces. If I can show you there, I leave 3 grid squares. So I have a gap between my organising and my words, and I have a gap between the margins so it doesn't curve. So this is my last one. Now you can do this many different ways. Some people put this on a piece of paper and then they write it in each week of where they're going to put things, you know, like for example, I don't know, sort films. I might think, oh, I'm going to do that next Saturday, so I'll write that down there. That's not something that works for me, but that's something people can do. Some people like to do the number method, so you would go through and number these by importance, so 1, 2, 3, blah 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 blah, and then just work off the numbers. Again, that's not really something for me, because it might be that I don't have the physical time to do number 1, but I have physical time to do number 22. So what I do is I just rate them on importance. As you can see here, you can see red squares and black squares, and then I just fill them in. If I can show you a bit closer, there we go, red squares, black squares, and then I do semi-squares, which means 2 lines red, 2 lines black, for stuff that really needs to be thought about but isn't desperate, and then I just fill them in as I go, and that sort of works for me. But that's my organisation. So let me show you how that works. I get my red pen first and go through the important ones. So the important ones means anything that has got to be done this week or within the next couple of days, etc. So if I'm going to just work my way through, so that one there for me is important, and with the grids it's really easy. Let's get a little bit further along. Bum bum bum. And we're just working our way along. So I've actually got quite a lot of things at the moment which are needing to be done. So as you can see there, they are now the ones that I really need to look at doing this week. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I've got 6 things. So that is a list of everything I need to do, whether that is now, in 3 months time, anything like that. Anything that is in my brain is now on that piece of paper of stuff I do need to do. And that's lovely, because now I have decided out of the whole list there are actually 6 things I really need to do this week. So not only have I now emptied my brain onto the piece of paper, I have decided that out of that I've got 6 things to do. Now 6 things to do in a week is really not that hard. You know, it's okay to do. I could do one a day. I could just have an afternoon and blitz through, but that's so much more manageable. It takes the stress off of me, and it makes me think, right, I've sort of got all this in my head of stuff I want to do, but these are the things I really need to do this week. And it's a bit like having a top 3, but it's a little bit more, you know, it's a little bit more collected. I can't work with the top 3 because it's not necessarily a daily thing. Some days I have are quiet, some days I have are busy, and I can't actually do top 3s every day or every week. So that's my importance. Then I have semi-importance. So semi-important to me is a, hey, you need to keep an eye on this. It does need looking at, but not necessarily right now. So for example, some of my really important things was to sort out the art show adverts. That's coming up in a couple of weeks, but you really need to sort of put that out there quickly. And stuff that's now not necessarily as important is going to be things like, let's go through. So that one is semi-important to me. And can you see there, I have done a half square in red. So half of that square is red and half of it's going to be black in a minute. Now what I tend to do, so if for example I've got a square here already, I've already got that line, so all I need to do is do that line. Can you see I've just gone down there? And this may look really difficult, but it's actually really useful for me. And then I just work my way along with stuff that is semi-important. So there we go, that's my semi-important ones. And then all I do now is go through with the black pen and I literally box up everything else. And that box is this is on your to-do list, but it is not absolutely desperate. So there we go, there is one of my, let me zoom it in a little bit. There is one of my semi-importance there, which says tax. So I've got it half black, half red, and that just flags me up straight away that I've got to do something important going on there. And this is lovely with the grid paper because you really don't have to think about it much. You just make your little boxes and you end up with a nice little bit at the end, which, whoops, does that. There we go, working our way. There we go, so I am all boxed up, as you can see. There we go, so all boxed up. I've got my importance and my non-importance. Now this might not work for you, but it works certainly for me. And then if I show you a previous week, so this is a previous week, and then I just go through and I cross them off. So last week I actually did a few other things that I never crossed off, so no better time like the present. So I did that last week. I did that last week. I did half of this one last week, so I just fill in, if you can see there, I just fill in half of that box. And then I just work my way through. So I did that last week, that was an important one. Dun, dun, dun. That one was done. That was done, that was semi-important, so that's good. And I think that was about it. So that is all been crossed off. So that now just gets archived. You can see sort of what it is. And the other nice thing as well is you can look back through these. I had a really busy week that week. I had a semi-busy week that week and I had no important things that week. But that was sort of semi-busy. And I didn't really do much before. But you start to sort of see an idea, and then next week it's just the same thing. So I will work through this as the week goes, but it's you're accountable. So for example, treasure boxes has been on my lists since the beginning of April. Now that doesn't mean it's been on my list since the beginning of April and I've not gotten around to it, so woe is me. It has been on my list since the beginning of April because it's something that needs doing. I need to change my treasure boxes from a fabric box to a plastic box, but it's really not desperate, but it is something I would like to do if I had the time. For example, if I had a weekend and I suddenly thought, I've got nothing to do, what do I fancy doing? I can have a look in here and I can think, that was something I always wanted to do, but I've just not got around to doing. And it means I don't have to sit there twiddling my thumbs trying to remember what it might be that I want to do in the future. So I hope that makes sense. But that's the list. So these are your questions. This is what comes out of it. And then as you go through, you just scribble, 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 and you get your idea. But that is what one of my weeks looks like. And let me give you an example here. My week stopped there last time, and as the week went on there were little bits I had to do that cropped up, so I just added them to the end. And that is the beauty of this box, is that you add them to the end because it is an ongoing list, it's an organic list, and because you are just listing it, you're not organising it, it doesn't matter that it's at the bottom, because on this side you will be saying whether it's important. Like this one, I put that on there on the Friday, and it was very important. I had to email my Zumba lady to say that I wasn't going to be able to go, and it was really important, and it didn't matter it was at the bottom of the list because I flagged it as red. You can't see it because I sort of filled it in, but I flagged it as that one, flagged it as red. And to me, as soon as I looked in here on the Friday, I thought, that's red, that needs to be done. Lo and behold, I did it and we're okay. So it really does work for me. It might not work for you guys, but that sort of just goes in there. Now this goes, this sits on my desk. I don't take this with me because I sort of tend to think of these as I go, but once a week, I cannot explain to you guys how much more productive I have become since I've been doing this, and how much less I forget. It is amazing, it really is. And all I did with these, you know, just rounded the corners, just made it a nice little bit. I've got like my little sticky note that I can just put on there, do whatever the heck I want with, and that's lovely. The final thing I have to do, is just make sure I've got no major bits on there. Move that along, is just then update any expenses. So I have an updated expense to pop in here, and that would have been yesterday, which was the 3rd, but we're now in May. So I will go May 2016. And I shall put the 3rd of the 5th, 16, and it was printer, ink sub, there we go, and it was the cost, and I paid by card. So that is literally, guys, it. That is my weekly and my monthly. So what I'll do now is I'll find my corresponding month, hold those together, pop my little clip on, and there we have it. So that is how I function. That is what it looks like. So it comes like that, bum bum ba. And people go, oh, isn't this like in your way for a Monday? No people, it's not, because I just do that. And because of Keely's wonderful margins, it is perfect size for these things. These are the little ones. I mean, this little pink one here I bought in Home Bargains, 40 odd p for like a set of 50. And I just flip that up, do my writing. And because of this being like that, it's lovely and flat. You don't get any lump to write over. And then when I'm done, just put it down and you're done. So that's all I do. I just clip these back in here, pop my little piece of elastic over, make it all look pretty, Make sure my charm is facing the right way. And there you have it. That is my organizer, my traveler's notebook, homemade, with weekly functional plan with me. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you get some interest out of it. If you want to know more about this, if you want to trial it and talk to me, and if you do trial it, let me know how it goes. I mean, if you don't like it, you don't like it, but if this helps, I'd love to know. As I said, I shall put the link of it in the comments below, and definitely go through it. You do need to necessarily you need to look at that and actually decide what questions are for you. But honestly guys, since I have been doing this and I have moved into a traveler's notebook, I have not looked back. So thank you so much for watching. I may well be considering doing a video on how I made this. If anybody's interested in a video on how this was made, I might, depending on how many people ask, do a video on it. But yeah, let me know your comments. I'm sorry it was a long video, guys. You'll have to just bear with me. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I shall see you again next time. Thanks guys, bye.